Good evening and welcome to Coventry Speedway for the 1996 British Final. A new format, of course. They are using the Grand Prix formula. The British champion will be the one who wins the A final at the end of 23 heats of speedway action here this evening. It's a break of tradition. Normally, over the many seasons of the British Championship, the rider who has got the most points from his 5 programme rides has been crowned British champion. I say that will not happen again this afternoon. Complications again in the qualifying system because the Grand Prix riders involved in today's British final, Chris Louis, Andy Smith to name 2, Gary Havelock, will not go through to the overseas final. They are already through, of course. So it actually goes down to any rider scoring 5 or 6 points can qualify for a place in the overseas final to be staged here at Coventry later on in the season. Kelvin Tatum, a former British champion, is in the lineup here this afternoon after qualifying from the semi-finals. He needs to ride in the overseas final, so obviously he'll be looking for those top places this afternoon to go into the overseas to get into next year's Grand Prix. Other British champions involved this afternoon are Gary Havelock and, of course, let's not forget Andy Smith, the 3 times on the trot British champion, the only Englishman to ever do that. He'll be looking for 4 on the trot this afternoon. So a very competitive meeting as usual in this British final, one of the hardest meetings of the season. Late withdrawal of Martin Dugard with appendicitis. That allows Alan Rosser to come into the side. It should have been Sean Wilson, of course, but unfortunately Sean had to pull out after 4 rides at Bradford with that leg injury. He was next in line to come in, so Alan Rosser is a rider who steps up and takes the place of Martin Dugard in this 1996 British final here at Coventry. Vice British champion, world long track champion Kelvin Tatum. Kelvin, you must be glad to be back at Coventry in the British final.
Yes, I was pleased to get through the first 2 rounds. Anything can happen in those early rounds, but yeah, it looks a nice day, so yeah, looking forward to it.
The equipment in top class condition for this afternoon?
I hope so. Things have been running pretty smoothly. I've been fairly happy with everything, so fingers crossed it'll suit the Coventry track, but yeah, it should be right.
I think you're a little bit disappointed you had to ride in the semi-final. I think on your past record you thought you might well be seeded through.
Yes, I felt a little bit put out by that, but in the end there was nothing that could be done about it, and it was a situation where I had to do them, otherwise I wouldn't have been involved in the Grand Prix effort at all. So particularly at the second round when it was so wet, that really was, anything could have happened there, you know, really could have done. But I got through that, so it's all over. I'm looking forward to today.
You've won it twice. There's no reason why you can't win it again this afternoon, but obviously qualifying for the Grand Prix is the main aim.
Yeah, I'd like to make sure I get some points early on so that I'm in with a shout. But if I'm in a position to win, I would dearly like to win again.
Do you like the new format, or would you prefer it when the man who got the most points won the British crown?
It's such a difficult question to answer, because if you have a stop, you've still got a chance. If you have a 15-point maximum, you might feel a bit aggrieved. So I suppose it does give you a little bit of a safety net. So in some respects, the pressure isn't on to win every single race right from the word go. If you go out in your first race, you don't like your first bike, you only pick up a couple of points, it can change and it's not a disaster. So from that point of view, it might be a bit better. But the sudden death final can work for you and can work against you. But it keeps everybody on their toes.
Thanks so much, Calvin. Very, very best luck this afternoon.
Cheers. Thanks.
British final debutant this afternoon, James Greaves. James, tremendous performance in the second semi-final to get you here to the British final this afternoon.
Oh yeah, I just made a good go of it in the second leg at Oxford, and the track was a bit dodgy at the beginning, and I just get my head down and went for it, where the rest, quite a few of the older boys were a bit unsure about it, so the likes of me and Ben just off we went, and I think that paid off at the beginning. So
obviously the biggest meeting of your career so far.
Oh yes, apart from the under-21 championships over in Sweden, this will be my next one, so hopefully I can do my best and do something tonight.
Despite dropping down to reserve under the new averages, you must be delighted with the start you made for Wolverhampton and the way things are going at Wolverhampton.
Oh yeah, I mean the whole setup at Wolverhampton is unbelievable, and I think this move's made me a bit more enthusiastic and give me a bit more confidence, because I seem to have, I'm scoring 8 or 9 points a meeting, whereas last year at Glasgow I wasn't doing too well. I wasn't scoring as many points, so I feel quite good.
Carl Stone, you're with me now. Carl, your second British final and a tremendous performance by winning the semi-final at Oxford.
Yeah, it was good. It had a lot of rain beforehand and it was very deep, grippy. Just had to get on with it. It suited me. A lot of the other lads, I think, were a bit wary about the state of the track because it was very bad. But you know, I enjoyed it. It was a schoolboy grass track, and I just got on with it, and everything worked out fine.
You've just walked round the track.
I find my bike up now as well.
You've just walked round the track with the man who prepares it here, Colin Meredith. How does it look to you this afternoon?
Looks very good, yeah. You'll probably end up getting slick towards the end, but it looks like there's a fair bit on to start off with. The gates look good. It's very warm. You know, it's quite warm. There's a breeze, so it's going to dry out quick. And as long as you keep on top of the watering, but don't water it too late, it should be good.
Colin gets a lot of stick over this track here at Coventry. Do you think the track's pretty good here, Brandon, overall?
It's a nice shape, but I've been here myself watching meetings, you know, the big meetings, and they've been far too slick. And I suppose it's, you know, in the meetings during the daytime, it's hard to sort of control them, but with it being a night time, it should hold a bit of moisture in.
Turning back to yourself, you must be delighted the way things are going. You're having a good season along Eton, plenty of guest bookings coming in as well.
Yeah, I've got a couple for Coventry as well, actually. They've just found out about a couple of minutes ago. I've done a fair bit already, so... Because I missed a meeting, because I tried at Poole in the semi-final, I'm still on a false average. You know, my average I started the season off on, and I think it's a point and a half more than that at the moment, so... As long as the meetings keep coming in, I'm not going to complain.
Best luck this afternoon, Cole.
Cheers, thanks very much.
Chris Louis with me now. Chris, on your tremendous performance when Ipswich were here, you must be one of the anti-post favourites this afternoon.
Yeah, I don't know, you know, it's obviously a different game today. Yeah, I always thoroughly enjoy myself here, so I always give it my best, and certainly will be today.
You're always there or thereabouts in the British final, but have not yet managed to get a rostrum place.
I have, I've been third once. But I haven't managed to win it, so that's what we're going for today.
Obviously, the new format, your thoughts on that? Would you prefer to get 15-point maximum and be British champion, or do you prefer the Grand Prix system that they're using here this afternoon?
I don't know really, it's for and against you. I think from a public point of view, obviously to chuck the top 4 boys in the last race, you know, and get a winner from that, it's got to be good. From a racer's point of view, you know, if you can go out and win 5 races, put 5 starts together, then you deserve to be champion. You know, you can have a bit of bad luck in a final ride, but I won an individual meeting in Poland last week on the same format as this, so I don't mind.
It's been switched to a night meeting to help track conditions. Is that to your preference rather than racing on an afternoon?
Yeah, you know, I think so. I mean, it doesn't matter how hard they try, they can never keep the track good during the day, and if you're going to put everything on heat 21, then obviously you've got to do everything you can to maintain the track, so obviously it's a big bonus, I think.
You did have a tremendous meeting here for Ipswich in the league about 3 weeks ago, also clocked the quickest time of the season around here.
Yeah, you know, I mean, everything's sort of boding for a good day, but you never can tell with these events. Obviously I haven't got the stress of qualification this year, so hopefully that'll help. We'll have to wait and see.
David Norris with me now. David, another British final for you. Had a good British final here at Coventry last year.
Can't remember a lot about it really. All I know is I qualified. I don't think I had a tremendous meeting, but as I was still yet to have one here, really.
Obviously the main aim is to get through now to the overseas to get into the Grand Prix next year.
Yeah, it's the aim. Hopefully if I've got one decent bite in me, and if that goes well, then I'll be looking for more on qualification.
Tremendous season back at Eastbourne. You've regained your form again, and Eastbourne have made a tremendous start to the season.
Yeah, I'm struggling at the moment. I've got to get my lay-down sorted out. I definitely need to go with them now. I'm really happy with them, but I've only got one at the moment. So once I sort all that out, I'll get me out together, and Eastbourne have put in a good team together. No, I rode another bike yesterday, one of my last year's engines. And it's embarrassing to ride really, but we got away with it last night. But this is, I'm pleased with this motor, so I haven't put it by, but it's a little bit special for me anyway.
Alan Roster with me now. Alan, probably the most delighted rider here this afternoon. You're in the meeting at the expense of the unfortunate ill Martin Dugard.
Yeah, you know, it's a bit of a shock, really, you know, but it's, like I say, it's a bonus for me, really.
It's not your first British final, so the experience, you won't be overawed by the experience. You struck your best form of the evening of the season at Peterborough Friday, so everything's going pretty well at the moment.
Well, hopefully that's what I'm hoping to build on, you know, and like, you know, my luck seems to be changing a bit. You know, I've got into the British final. It is a very good meeting to get into, and you know, some people are not, you know, that fussed on it, but I still got the urge to ride, and just pity I didn't sort of do it properly the first time around.
And of course, with the Grand Prix men already seeded through, the likes of yourself, if you can get 7 or 8 points, you could well get through to the overseas this afternoon.
Well, that's my aim, you know. I'm here now. I've got a chance. I've been taking a chance to get here, and now I'm going to take it, you know, take it with both hands, you know. Now I've got to go for it.
When exactly did you know you were riding this afternoon?
Well, I got told vaguely I was on standby last night as reserve, and then 20 past 10 it was like, there's a good chance you'll be riding, and then about 11:30 it was you're definitely riding. So I'm a little bit unfortunate. I did my engine at Peterborough Friday, and I was bringing my engine up for my tuner to be done for Wednesday because we're at Long Eaton. But Jimmy Nielsen's come forward and lent me his engine tonight, so his is going very well. So fingers crossed I can go out and do the business tonight.
The engine is Czech. It's made by Jawa, 500cc, 4-stroke. Ridgy back end, no suspension at all. Big, fat, knobbly back tyre to get lots of grip on that shale. The whole thing is about 80 kilograms, which is the same as a trials bike. But the most important thing about two-wheel bikes, what they haven't got, is they haven't got a gearbox.
Your second British final, you did very well in the semi-finals, and obviously looking forward to this afternoon.
Yeah, this year's a different ball game. You know, last year I got in for other people's misfortunes and everything. This year I qualified in third in the semi, so like, you know, I know I'm quick enough to come here with these boys this year, and I had a really bad meeting last year, so this year I want to come here and prove a point, and hopefully get in sort of like the promoters will start picking me for the England team again and that.
Are all the injury problems settled, because you've been getting good points? You've also been niggled with rather 1 or 2 injuries at the start of the season.
Yeah, this year I've been okay. I've got no injury problem. Really fit, so there's been no problem. So as long as everything goes on right on the night, it'll be right. The engine went wrong yesterday, so we've been all night rebuilding that. But Bloomfield's built all, and it's ready to go. So really, it's just 5 good starts, and hope we can have a result.
Are you happy with the new system? Because the 5 starts plus the 3 finals for the first time ever. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, it don't really bother me. You know, you just come here, you got to do it. It's the same for everybody. To get on with. I'm a little bit upset. I rang up in the week and they told me 1 tyre. Now I get here, and as you can see below me, we're just fitting tyres, more tyres now. So that's all what upset me really. But the way they've rearranged the programme doesn't bother me at all.
Thanks, Amos Ray. Very, very best luck.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome to Coventry Speedway for this, the British final. And to introduce all the officials and riders for this evening's event, over to the very patriotic Peter York.
Yes, I thought you might have noticed that. Yes, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to the Brandon for this British Speedway Championship final. We've got the riders here on pace, ready to produce the very best of British for this meeting. In the Lincoln Continental, which comes trackside for you, and it brings out to meet us the manager of the Speedway Control Board, Mr. Graham Reeves. It brings out Speedway Control Board official Bill Smith, and also Mr. Terry Russell, the chairman of the BSPA. The first set of competitors coming out. As we know, the British final was always a noisy affair, so we want to hear those air horns. We want to hear you cheering for the riders as they come out. We welcome also Mr. Chris Van Strand, the Deputy Chairman of the BSPA, the Management Committee and General Council members. We also welcome in the press, the Motorcycle News, Speedway Star, Speedway Mail, Radio 5, BBC Local Radio, ILR, Independent Local Radio, national and local journalists. We also give a special welcome to Steve Berry from the BBC Top Gear programme. Right, now let's meet the competitors. Time for you to cheer for your favourite riders. Picking to rider number 1 is the 3 times British champion from Bradford, Grand Prix rider Andy Smith. Andy Smithy, the man to beat today. Riding in number 2, representing the Reading Racers, his second appearance, Ray Morton. At number 3 from Ipswich, former British under-21 champ, his third appearance, Ben Howe. Taking the ride at number 4 from Bradford, former World Speedway champ, 2 times the British champion, Bradford's Gary Hammerlock. Competing at number 5 from the Eastbourne Eagles, regular England international, David Norris. Oh, we go to the match favourite rider at number 6 from Ipswich, former world number 3, Chris Lee. At number 7, the second competitor from the Reading Racers, another England international, his 5th appearance, Dave Mullins. Well, the first of those 2 changes coming up, we welcome the Bellevue Aces rider, Neil Collins. It's because they didn't know you were in, Neil, thrown into the deep end, but Neil, a strong competitor, as we know. On now to number 9, another competitor from Bradford, former world number 21 champ, Joe Stream. Over we go then to meet the competitor from the Hull Vikings, former Division 2 champ, Paul Thorpe. Making his debut in this British Speedway Championship at number 11 from Wolverhampton, James Greaves. And number 12 in our lineup, let's welcome in from Middlesbrough, David Ross. Bit of a scary time for Coventry's hot shot favourite because of the elbow injury, but he is here at 13, Simon Ford. Talking about these, a former B himself, the reigning world long track champion, 2 times the British champ, Gary Tatum. On we go. As we say, a warm welcome for Long Eaton's high flyer, Carl Stanier. And last but by no means least, ladies and gentlemen, in at the deep end for Alan Rotherham, the national champion of Wales. He said. So, ladies and gentlemen, they are the competing riders for this 96 British final here at the Brandon. We wish them all the very best of British luck tonight. The rostrum is strewn with the trophies and that GM engine as well from Trevor Hedge. Well, we can hear that there are a lot of supporters from Bradford with us this evening.
Reigning British champion with me now, Andy Smith. Andy, the only Englishman to ever win this title 3 times on the trot, going for a 4th this afternoon.
Definitely. I'm going to give it everything I've got.
Do you think the fact that you haven't ridden this track for Coventry this season, it's your first meeting here, is going to make a difference this afternoon?
I don't think so. The other times I've only had 4 meetings here before a British final, so hopefully it won't make any difference.
Are you going to have a point to prove to the Coventry fans this afternoon?
No, I've got no points to prove.
Are you enjoying life at Bradford at the moment?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it again, yeah.
Alan's put together a good side, but I think it's fair to say the results possibly haven't come as well as you might have expected.
No, a couple of us have struggled now and then, but once it all clicks, I reckon it'll be good.
As a former British champion who's won it under the old system of getting the most points, being the winner, your thoughts on this new format this afternoon?
I don't really know what it's about, really.
Well, they're virtually running on the Grand Prix system, where the top 4 go to the final, and then the winner of that final will actually be the British champion, rather than the man who scored the most points in the qualifier.
So there's no semi-finals, it's just 5 heats, and then a final.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're quite happy with that?
Yeah.
And obviously the pressure's not really on because you obviously want to win it, but you're through as a Grand Prix rider. You don't need to qualify for the next stage of the competition.
No, which I don't, but it'd be nice to win it again.
A lot of problems with the Grand Prix at the moment. Your thoughts on these tyres and what exactly they're doing with the Grand Prix at the moment?
Well, I rode on the tyres in, I think it was 84, and they were pretty unsafe then.
So with the speed of the bikes now, they could be even more unsafe?
I reckon so, yeah.
Twice British champion Gary Havelock with me. Gary, obviously looking for a third British crown this afternoon.
Yeah, I want to go for it, you know. It takes a bit of pressure off now. The last couple of years, the British finals, we haven't had to use it as a qualifying round, being in the Grand Prix, so that's a big help. So I'm just going to go out there and give it everything, try and win it. Quiet start to the season, but the points are starting to flow now for you. Yeah, you know, it's been riding the lay-down bikes, and it's been a big help being able to ride them this year in the British League. And we're getting there slowly, week by week. We're getting nearer to where we want to be. They're going good.
Coventry track is a track you always seem to score points at.
Yeah, I like Coventry. It's a good race track, and it's a fair track, and you know, I think the best man will win.
Your thoughts on the new format of having the three finals as against a straight 15-point maximum? Would you be British champion? It's all on one race virtually this afternoon.
Yeah, it is. You know, it has, both formats have their ups and the downs, the fors and against. But you know, this is good for the crowd. I think, you know, gives people a chance to drop a couple of points, maybe have an engine failure, still scrape into the final, and it keeps the interest right to the end. You know, somebody in a normal open meeting, somebody can win it in heat 17 and the meeting's dead after that, whereas this builds up and it finishes with a bang.
And obviously you're happy the fact it's a night meeting rather than an afternoon meeting. It should be able to hold a good track for the entire meeting.
Yeah, much happy. You know, a lot of riders have been saying for years we'd rather have it on a night, and you know, I think speed is a better spectacle than the lights anyway, and as I said, the track should be able to stay damper longer.
Thanks so much, Gary. Let's hope you make it 3 British crowns this afternoon.
Cheers. Thank you.
So we move on then to heat number 1 of this 1996 British final. The line up for heat number 1. Riding in red, the reigning British champion, of course. The only English rider to have won the British title on 3 successive occasions. This year from the Bradford Dukes, it's Andy Smith in red. In blue, qualified 3rd overall in the semi-finals from the Reading Racers, Ray Morton. In white, another rider qualified for the semi-finals, and of course, in fact, there was an action at Swindon last evening in the under-21 final, which he took 6th place from the Ipswich, which is Ben Howe. And in yellow and black, former British champion, former world champion from the Bradford Dukes, it's Gary Havelock in yellow and black, and they're on 2 minutes for heat number 1. So riders finally come into line then for this first heat. Smith on gate 1, Morton on gate 2, Howe gate 3, Havelock gate number 4. So 2 former British champions clash in this opening heat, of course, both riding for the Bradford Dukes this season. In Howell, a clean start. Is Smith making a good start from the inside? Havelock gets across from the outside. Smith in fact gets the corner first. Havelock going the drive around the outside. Smith pushed in wide. Ray Morton almost slips up the ins of Havelock, but he's back in 3rd place at the moment. As Smith goes in from Havelock, it's Morton in 3rd with Ben Howe at the back of the complete lap number 1. So looks if Andy Smith determined to hang on to his British crown again in 1996. He's clear of teammate Havelock. Morton in 3rd place with Howe at the back. Equally spread as they make their way into that bottom corner on lap number 2. Smith again riding a mid-track position. Havelock looking to speed up the inside, but he's not close enough to get to his teammate at the moment. And it's still Smith then from Havelock. Morton in 3rd. No under pressure from that 3rd place for Ben Howe, but Ben Howe going much too wide. Coming out of that pits corner, drops back to last place again. As Andy Smith slowly but surely increasing that lead over Gary Havelock as they come on the start. Lap number 4 this time. Havelock gets a little bit closer going into this pits corner, tries for the outside line, but I think Smith knows exactly where he is. Havelock still in 2nd, Morton in 3rd. Anxious to go over his left shoulder there by Gary Havelock. He's going to save 2nd place, but the reigning champion Andy Smith, who wins heat number 1, starts off the defence of his crown with a win there. 2nd, Gary Havelock, and in 3rd place it's Ray Morton.
Smithy, complaining about the blue boys he was on teletext, I noticed. It certainly didn't prevent him from winning that one, did it?
So the result then of heat number 1 and the winning red for Andy Smith. His winning time was 63.4 seconds. 2nd in yellow-black was Gary Havelock, and 3rd in blue, Ray Morton. Time once again, 63.4 seconds.
Reading's Dave Mullet with me. Dave, the British final's never been the happiest of events so far in the past for you. Is it going to change this afternoon?
Well, I hope so, but no, I've got through here I think 3 times now, so
You know, if I can qualify, I'll be happy. If I don't, I shan't lose any sleep. This is probably the most relaxed I've ever been for a British final. It's my 6th one now, so I think I've done pretty well anyway. Qualifying for 6 British finals, there's not many people who've ever done that anyway. So, no, I'm relaxed. I'll be out there trying my hardest, but things don't go well, then things don't go well.
Do you think the new format might benefit you this afternoon, having the 3 finals, the A, B and the C final, rather than the straight 5 races for everybody?
I don't really know. I haven't really thought. I didn't know anything about it till today, so I haven't really been thinking that much about it. I can't see why it should benefit me. Well, you just got to go out there and win every race you're in, and obviously, you know, at the end of the day, you're obviously going to be be British champion. But you know, if I can qualify, I'll be more than happy. But if I don't, like I said, I shan't lose any sleep over it.
Are all the injury problems healed up? You're fully fit for this afternoon?
Yeah, I think so. I'm still like 99% fit. Still got 1 or 2 little problems, but nothing to cause me any problems racing. So. You know, I've had a few problems with my motors this year, getting them running right and everything else, so that's one of my biggest worries tonight.
So we move on then to heat number 2. It's Dave Norris, who was back with the Eastbourne Eagles this year, scored 8 points in the British final last year. He rides in red. Dave Mullett in his 6th British final, skipper of the Redden Racers, rides in blue. Former world number 3 has never yet won this British crown. From the Ipswich, which is in white, Chris Louis, and a change in yellow and black. Paul Hurry, of course, nursing a leg injury at the moment, rode in the under-21 final last evening, qualified in 3rd place, but not able to take part yet this afternoon, so coming in to replace him from the Bellevue Ace in yellow and black, it's Neil Collins. Four riders settle then for heat number 2. A clean start. Norris makes a good gate. Dave Mullin gets in the action. Robert Mullin in fact gets a corner first. Louis going for drive round the outside, goes still wide. Norris slips to inside Louis. Louis back round the outside, but Norris gets back inside Louis again. And surprisingly, it's Dave Mullin to lead now as a complete lap. Number 1, Norris in second. Louis, who was the favourite for this one, he's way at the back of the moment. Looks to have trouble there. There's Chris Louis dropped back from second to 4th. Neil Collins moving inside him for that 3rd place position. So the first shock of the afternoon possibly on the cards in this heat number 2 as Mullett shows then from Norris. It's Collins in 3rd. Chris Louis, one of the anti-post favourites, finding himself at the back, looking down in the bike. His machine was absolutely in top class condition a few weeks ago when he scintillatingly scored a 15-point maximum. He's way at the back down this heat number 2. And it's still Mullett then from Norris. Collins in 3rd. A bit shocked as Dave Mullett's never really shown his true form on this Coventry track before. Collins getting a bit closer to Norris to scrap that 2nd place position. And Chris Louis can make absolutely no impression at the back as Dave Mullett now coming on to start. Kick the checker flag for heat number 2. It's Dave Mullett who gets a win. 2nd Dave Norris, 3rd place Neil Collins, and the 3rd shock of the afternoon comes up there in heat number 2 with the last place for it, which is Chris Louis.
Chris Louis in a spot of honour there. That is a remarkable sight. Normally Chris doesn't have problems. It looks like a bit of a motor that got sour on him, but we'll find out later on.
So the result then of heat number 2, and the win in blue for Dave Mullett in a time of 63 seconds exactly. 2nd in red was Dave Norris, and 3rd in yellow black, Neil Collins. Time once again, 63 seconds exactly.
Paul Thorpe with now. Paul, a little bit later arriving, last minute adjustments to the bike?
Yeah, just a bit of adjustment to the clutch, nothing major, so should be okay.
You've had some good meetings here at Coventry in the past, no reason why you can't be in those top 6 qualifiers this afternoon?
Well, obviously, you know, I love the track, and the track obviously looks superb again like it is every year, and, you know, no reason why not. That's what I've come here to do, and we'll have a go.
A little bit of a problem with the tyres. I think all the lads thought it was going to be one tyre, but now the rules have been changed for this afternoon.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, you know. A lot of riders rung up yesterday, and they said it was just one tyre for the meeting, and, you know, I've only brought one tyre, and, you know, the British final for years has been one tyre and one tyre only, and you know, they change it half an hour before the start, which is ridiculous. You know, quite a few riders have only come with the one tyre, expect it to be the same rules as every year that's gone by, you know, and they change it, which is stupid.
Obviously, it makes a big difference because if somebody's got 2 tyres, they have 3 rides, they put a new tyre on, you're going out for your 4th ride in the same tyre. Starting's vital, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, obviously, you know, the new tyre is good out the start and around the first corner, and then you know, I'm basically on an even keel, but you know, if it comes down to the later stages, the crucial stages, then, you know, the people with all the tyres are going to obviously have that little bit of an edge out at the start.
You had a good meeting with Hull a few weeks ago, obviously looking at that sort of form again tonight.
Yeah, you know, I enjoy it here, and if I can make some starts, I shall do well, and, you know, I'm riding my lay down, so I've rode it a few times, and it feels really good, so we'll see what happens, basically.
So the rider in red, Paul Thorpe, on the 2-minute time allowance. We know Paul was very late arriving for the meeting here this afternoon. He's in red, James Greaves in blue, making his British final debut. Joe Screen is in white, of course, third.
And the 4 riders for seat number 3 are the 2-minute time
David
allowance.
Walsh in his second British final. So just waiting for the rider in red, Paul Thorpe, to make his way into line in that number 1 gating position. Has had some good meetings in the past on this Coventry track. James Greaves in gate 2, Joe Screen gate 3, and David Walsh, of course, riding for the Middlesbrough Bears this season. He's on gate number 4. Nobody wants to settle first for this heat number 3. All 4 now ready. Thorpe, Greaves, Screen and Walsh. Clean break, and Walsh has made a good start for the outside. Screen gets out in Walsh, in fact gets a corner third. Screen looking line through on the inside. Thorpe moves to the third, but James Greaves going much too wide. Thorpe gets tremendous lift, halfway in the backside. Screen making a move around the outside. Walsh, they go into that Coventry corner, side by side. It's Walsh come back up the inside, leaves Screen, looking all Screen bravely. Committed to the outside, gets round the outside. Walsh can action now in heat number 3. It's Screen who shows in for Walsh. Thorpe in third. James Greaves in the back, super first lap there with David Walsh and Joe Screen shoulder to shoulder, particularly coming out of that Coventry turn. It's now Joe Screen starting to stamp his authority on the seat number 3. Walsh in second, Thorpe in third, James Greaves off the pace at the back and going much too wide. They get up on that pit corner. Thorpe closing up on David Walsh in that second place position, and while that scrap's going on, Joe Screen slowly but surely is pulling away at the front. He leads on the lap 4, Walsh in second, Thorpe in third. Thorpe pretty close to David Walsh then. Walsh on the inside, but Thorpe overcooks that pit corner, went much too wide. Gets back a challenge on David Walsh going into that Coventry corner, but Joe Screen, one of the Andy Post favourites, come through to victory from the back in heat number 3. Joe Screen gets a win. Second is David Walsh, and in third place it's all 4.
The Screen machine. Another rider dog with injuries, but seems to be well over that.
Yes, he certainly does. The result of heat number 3, and certainly a winning wide for Joe Screen in a winning time of 63.5 seconds. Second in yellow-black was David Walsh, and third in red, Paul Thorpe. The time, once again, 63.5 seconds.
So all 4 for heat number 4 on the 2-minute time allowance. Carl Stone, you're having a tremendous season for Long Eaton Invaders. He's in red. Calvin Tatum, of course, riding for the London Lions this season, himself a former British champion, is in blue. A late replacement for Martin Dugard in white is Alan Rossiter from the Peterborough Panthers, and in yellow and black, home favourite and former overseas champion Simon Cross in yellow and black. Calvin Tatum, of course, top qualifier from the semi-finals overall, won the pool semi-final, and Carl Stone, you finished second overall. He won the Oxford semi-final. So the 2 top qualifiers clash in this heat number 4. So all 4 moving into line for this heat 4. So Stone, Tatum, Rossiter and Cross. Away to a clean start. Tatum makes a good gate, that number 2 gate. Rossiter's got out with him, but it's Tatum shows in from Stone on the inside. Bill Sod on that first corner. Stone nice around the edge of Cross. Cross trying to come back on the inside line. And while these 2 are scrapping it out to second place, Calvin Tatum's already bidding himself quite a good lead. It's Stone in second. Home favourite Cross in third with Rossiter at the back. As then the back straight they go on. Lap number 2. Tatum really wide down that pitch corner. Stone almost nipped inside him on that pitch bend, but it's Tatum with a quicker line round the Coventry corner, right in the mid-track position. Stone just from the inside to the outside, but pushing Tatum pretty hard down the seat number 4. Tatum just ahead of Stone. Cross in third, Roster off the pace of back, and again Stone almost slipping inside Tatum. Is really taking a wide line on that pitch corner, but seems to know exactly what he's doing there. He's pulling away again on the straight from Stone. They start lap 4 this time. Tatum then to Stone. Cross in third, these 3 clear of Alan Rossiter. Then the back straight 40, follows on mistake there by Stone. You're on that pitch corner. Glad to Tatum putting quite a bit of gel between himself and the second place man. And former British champion, former world number 3, Calvin Tatum wins heat number 4. Second is Carl Stone, and in third place, home favourite Simon Cross.
Thanks, Peter. Yes, the result of heat number 4, and a winning blue for Calvin Tatum. And the fastest time so far this afternoon, 62.6 seconds. Second in red was Carl Stone, and He's got his fans here this afternoon, and third in yellow-black was Simon Cross. The time once again for that one, 62.6 seconds.
Bit of an extra break there with Simon Cross getting 2 rides consecutively because he's out in the next one, so track being regraded, and an extra time for Crossy to get his breath back. Let's have a quick word from Mr. Top Gear himself. How you doing?
Not so bad. Just been down at Donington today watching the superbikes, and it's certainly a contrast to come along here, and I'm a lot muddier than I was at Donington.
Yeah, but you seem better racing, Steve.
Well, I've just discovered why it is that nobody stands on the outside of the track except us.
Oh, you fell for that one? Well, that's great news. The Top Gear programme on TV, we watch it every week, so what are you doing, a special package for them?
Well, what we do on Top Gear Motorsport, of course, for BBC 2 on Fridays, is we try and look at bike sport that you don't normally see on television. Of course, I mean, I'm 30-something now, although only 31. And like a lot of people, I was brought up with World of Sport on a Saturday afternoon with Ivan Major, Barry Briggs, and of course the great Peter Collins at Bellevue in Manchester, my own club, and I'm glad to see there's a Bellevue rider here today. It gives a bit of continuity to the sport. What we're trying to do is show the ordinary punters, 2.5 million audience that we get, bike sport that they've not seen before. We've had a great reaction to things like trials, which has gone down so well. These sports are just so impressive when you see people at the height of the powers like the lads here today, that I can't fail to see how people can't be impressed, and they are impressed.
You're very much a biker, aren't you, Steve? I mean, we watch your reports where you sometimes say nice things and sometimes say bloody awful things.
Well, I don't. A lot of people criticise me for not being as critical of bikes as I am. But essentially, all the editing is done before we ever get to the screen. There's so little time on terrestrial television for bikes that I just pick bikes that I like anyway. And leaves, like my mother said to me when I started this job, she said, if you can't think of anything good to say, don't say anything. That's what I do.
Well, we love you. It's great to have you here, and we'll look with favourable interest when the Top Gear programme shows, or Top Gear Motorsport shows Speedway. Yellow and black, the Screen Machine, Joe Screen!
So what is coming out for heat number 5 of this 1996 British Final, 2 on the trot for Simon Cross, of course, the former overseas champion on this Coventry track, just finished 3rd there in heat number 4. Andy Smith, the reigning champion, looking to make it 4 out of trot, the only Englishman to win it 3 times on the trot. The winner of heat number 1, he's in blue. It's Dave Norris, who scored 8 points in this corresponding meeting last year, is in white. And Joe Screen, over the last 3 years, has been runner-up on no less than 3 occasions behind Andy Smith. He has won heat number 3 in convincing style. He's in yellow and black. Tony Steele in charge of this British final here this afternoon. As the 4 riders settle for heat number 5, Cross, Smith, Norris and Screen. A clean start, losing it, Man Smith makes the good game, the Screen goes surging across every Cross, it's going Andy Smith find himself at the back at the moment. Joe Screen leads in the back for lap number 1. It's Cross in second, Norris in third, and surprising Andy Smith finding himself at the back of this heat number 5. He's trying to get inside Dave Norris, but Joe Screen shows everybody a clean pair of heels at the moment. The Screen well clear of Cross. Smith gets out of Norris to move for 3rd place and sets about chasing Simon Cross for that 2nd place position. But Screen already a long way clear at the front. It's still Cross in 2nd, Smith in 3rd, Norris at the back as they complete lap number 2. So the 3 consecutive times runner-up, making a splendid start this 1996 British Final. Convincingly won his first one. Looks well on course for victory this one. Cross in 2nd, these 2 a long way clear of Andy Smith, but Dave Norris closing up on Andy Smith for that 3rd place position as they start lap 4 this time. It's Screen clear of Smith. Cross, Smith in 3rd, Norris at the back, and then the back straight they go for the full time. The main scrap is for that 3rd place position, but Joe Screen comes through to make it 2-2. Joe Screen gets the win. 2nd there, Simon Cross. 3rd place, it's Andy Smith in heat number 5.
Result of heat number 5 and a win there in yellow-black for Joe Screen. And the fastest time so far this afternoon, 62 seconds exactly. 2nd in red was Simon Cross, and 3rd in blue, Andy Smith. Time once again, 62 seconds exactly. And it's me you need to show.
So Joe Screen clocking the quickest time of the afternoon of 62 seconds exactly. That's also equaling the quickest time set at Coventry this season. Ray Mort with a few last-minute adjustments by the pit gate. Heat 6 lineup is Calvin Tatum, winner first to run in red. Paul Thorpe is in blue. Ray Mort in white. And Chris Louis, who had a disastrous opening ride when he came in last in heat number 2. This lineup then for heat number 6. So as they come into line for heat 6, Calvin Tatum on gate 1, Paul Thorpe gate 2, Ray Morton gate 3, and Chris Louis gate number 4. Calvin Tatum, of course, twice winner of the British Crown, reigning world long track champion. Paul Thorpe, who was top Englishman in the 1991 World Final. Ray Morton, this is second final, came through, of course, through the semi-final stages. And Chris Louis, former world number 3, and of course already a Grand Prix rider. That's the lineup for this heat number 6. Four riders settle for this heat 6. Tatum, Thorpe, Morton and Louis, who makes the best start. Louis makes a good gate for the outside. Tatum trying to squeeze one into, but Louis gets the corner first. It's Louis who's chosen from Tatum. Thorpe in third. Ray Morton at the back. The corner was crucial. Tatum made a good gate, but Louis just got the corner first. Now Tatum going for drive round the outside of that Coventry club, but Louis has the advantage and over Tatum. It's Louis who shows them with Tatum. Thorpe in third. Tatum goes for drive round the outside of this pit squad, but Chris Louis slowly but surely pulling away from the former British champion. As it's Louis then from Tatum, Thorpe in third, Morton at the back, equally split as they come on a complete lap number 2, and Chris Louis making amends back to Darcy's opening right. Tatum again wide on this pit, so that's allowed Louis to pull farther away at the front. It's Louis who shows then from Tatum, Thorpe in third, Morton at the back as they come on to start lap 4 this time, so looks if Chris Louis going to get back with a winning ride after that disastrous opening ride in heat number 2. So Tatum in second, Thorpe in third, Morton at the back, so making look pretty good for Joe Screen here with Calvin Tatum dropping points in his second riders. Chris Louis comes through to get the win. Second is Calvin Tatum. Third place it is Paul Thorpe. That's the result of heat number 6.
Result of heat number 6, and the win there in yellow-black for Chris Louis in a time of 62.8 seconds. Second in red was Calvin Tatum, and third in blue, Paul Thorpe. Time once again, 62.8 seconds.
We said a man on a mission definitely tonight is Joe Screen, Joe. Certainly looking pretty positive out there.
Yeah, made, 2 decent starts. There's a long way to go. I've been this side, sat here before and, not done it. So, I'll give it all that I've got, and as I say, I've got 3 more rides. Everything's working well, the bike's been very good. So, see how we go.
Go for broke, as it were. You stood on that rostrum in second place, and although the smile was there, I've seen it, the bitter disappointment should have been first. Can it be, Joe? Can it do it? Can you do it?
Who knows what's around the corner?
All right, we wish you well. Thanks, Joe. Quick word with Joe Screen here in the Coventry pits as the meeting roars on. Heat number 7 coming out to the line. James Greaves, the number 1 that George Hunter tells me from Scotland.
So heat 7 with James Greaves in red on gate 1, Carl Stoney in blue gate 2, Dave Mullet in white gate 3, Ben Howe in yellow and black gate number 4. So the 4 riders ready for action for heat number 7. Away to a clean start. Mullet's made a good get again. It's Ben Howe in fact that gets across to the outside. It's Greaves trying to squeeze through on the inside line, but the rider yellow up. Ben Howe gets round the outside of the leads in that backstone lap number 1. It's Greaves in second place. Stonier in third. Stonier trying to come round the edge of Greaves. Good ride there by Carl Stonier. Sees him get round the edge of James Greaves to move through to second place. So Greaves, in fact, has dropped from first to third. Dave Mullet off the pace to back, and Greaves all over the place. That pit's going to went for the inside of the outside. Really much too wide. That's allowed Dave Mullet to squeeze through into that third place position. Greaves trying to come back round the edge of Mullet. As Howe shows then from Stonier. Mullet in third. So Greaves, in fact, has gone from first to fourth. As Ben Howe in the last place. And his first ride storming away with his race 7. Stonier pretty consistent, looks like picking up 2 second places. Mullet in third with Greaves with all to do at the back as they come on to start lap 4 this time. So it's which is Ben Howe leads heat 7, then the back spread on lap number 4. Still Stonier in second, Mullet in third, Greaves at the back as Ben Howe comes through for the victory in race number 7. Ben Howe gets the win. Second, picking up his second place, Carl Stonier, and in third place it's Rudding's Dave Mullet.
Good rally there for Ben. as his tear off streaming behind him, floating in the wind.
Result then of heat number 7, and a win in yellow-black for Ben Howe, and a time of 63 seconds exactly. Second in blue was Carl Stonehewer, and third in white, Dave Mullett. Time once again, 63 seconds exactly.
So heat 8 then hits Gary Havelock in red, second place first to out. Neil Collins is in blue. Gary, of course, twice winner of this British title, he's in red. Neil Collins, keeping the Collins family tradition going in this British final, is in blue, coming in as a late replacement for the unfortunately injured Paul Hurry, of course, finished in third place in the under-21 championship at Swindon last evening. David Walsh from the Middlesbrough Bears in his second British final is in white, and Alan Rossiter, he too coming in as a late replacement for the appendix-affected Martin Dugard in yellow and black. I think Rossiter, this is Alan's third British final. So he's on gate 4, David Walsh on gate 3, Neil Collins gate 2, Gary Havelock gate number 1. Really should be favoured to take care of this heat number 8. All 4 riders now finally ready. Away to a clean start, and Walsh has made a good game. The 3-gate Havelock gets it with Walsh back, gets the corner first. Roster gets a big hamper around the outside, but David Walsh has made a superstar from the outside. Roster, in fact, his move has paid off by going wide in this pit, so he's got through on the into Havelock, and in fact Havelock is dropping right back to the back of the moment. Bit of a surprise in this one as Walsh shows in for Roster. Havelock in third. It's Collins at the back, and they make their way in the back straight once again. I thought Gary Havelock would be in the front of this. He's back in third place at the moment as Middlesbrough David Walsh shows in from Alan Roster. Havelock trying to come around the outside. Rossiter coming off that bottom corner, but still Walsh leads in. Rossiter in second, Havelock in third. It's Collins at the back, and they make their way down the back straight once again. And Gary Havelock not making any impression on either first or second, so disappointing. Got the opening rides for the former British champion as Dave Walsh leads in onto lap 4. It's still Rossiter in second, Havelock in third. Looks at Neil Collins got a few bike problems there at the back. As down the back straight they go for the final time. So another shot coming up in this heat number 8 as Middlesbrough David Walsh comes to the pick of his first winning ride of the afternoon. He gets the win. Second there is Alan Rossiter. Third place it's Gary Havelock.
Collins having a spot along there as he trails in. So well done to Walshy then, as he comes around the Brandon circuit for your appreciation.
So the result of heat number 8 and a win in white for David Walsh in a time of 63.3 seconds. Second in yellow-black was Alan Rossiter, and third in red, Gary Havelock. Time once again 63.3 seconds.
Winner of the last race, David Walsh. David, it must be a dream come true, 5 out of 6 in your first 2 rides. Well, yeah, I'm quite pleased. I wouldn't say my dream is entirely true. I want to have a really good meeting, not just 2 good rides. If I end up in the end of the meeting with only having dropped 1 point, I should say that may be close to a dream come true. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with the way it's going. It's early days yet. I've got some hard meetings coming up, although hard races coming up, although they're all quite hard. Super short in your last race. Yeah, well, it wasn't actually. I struggled at the start that time, but I just had to work a bit to get myself to the corner first. I struggled a little bit, but you know, you can't grumble when you hit the corner first, and I'm hoping to avoid lifting in my next rides and hopefully make clearer starts than that and make it a little bit easier on myself. Looks to be a fair bit of dirt out there. How's the track riding? Yeah, it is a little bit inconsistent. There's a lot of dirt building up on the outside now, so I think as the meeting progresses there'll be a few lads trying the outside run and maybe having it pay off for them, but at the moment it's still a long way to go on the outside. There's got to be a really distinct advantage between the slick on the inside and the grip on the outside for it to work at Coventry, so but I'm sure it'll get a bit more interesting. Thanks so much, David. Congratulations on a good start to me. Thanks, sir.
Well, we have a look at the individual scoring at the moment because all the riders have now completed 2 rides. And if you look at it, we have one man who's on maximum points at the moment, and that, of course, is Joe Screen. But he's closely followed by 2 riders on 5 points. That's David Walsh and also Calvin Tatum. And then on 4, we've got 3 riders, Andy Smith, Dave Mullett and Carl Stonehewer. So that's as they are at the moment after their 2 rides. So just running then through the full lineup then for this heat number 9 is Chris Leary riding in red, Alan Rossiter rides in blue, Andy Smith in white and James Greaves in yellow-black.
The top 6, apart from the Grand Prix riders, all go through to the overseas. 4 Grand Prix riders, of course, in action this afternoon. Andy Smith, Gary Havelock, Joe Screen and Chris Louis. Those, of course, will go through by right. They don't ride in the overseas final. In fact, a rider settled for heat number 9 away to a clean start. Roster's made a good game, but Lewis made a good one for the inside. Smith going for drive around the outside. James Greaves all over the place. The back almost caught the safety fence on this pitch corner. Smith gets round the outside. Roster to move through in the second place, but Chris Louis leads in complete lap number 1. It's Smith in second, Ross in third. Greaves already well off the pace as they make their way in that back straight once again, of course, with this new system of qualifying. That costly last place in the first ride. Chris Louis, if he gets enough points, could still get through to the final and be British champion. That's one of the main things about this new system. It's Louis well clear at the front then. It's Smith in second, Roster in third. Greaves up the pace to back, and certainly Andy Smith not looking so dominant here this afternoon as what he has in the last 3 British finals. Under pressure now for that second place from Alan Rossiter. As Louis, the proverbial mile away at the front. Still Smith in second, Rossiter in third. Greaves struggling at the back as they make their way down the back straight for the final time. So after last place in heat number 1 is 2 wins coming up for Chris Louis. He gets the win. Second there is Andy Smith, and in third place it's Alan Rossiter.
The result then of heat number 9, and the win in red for Chris Louis in a time of 62.1 seconds. Second in white is Andy Smith, and third in blue Alan Rossiter. Time once again 62.1 seconds.
So heat 10 then, Dave Walsh, the surprise package so far is in red with 5 of the 6. Dave Norris is in blue. Carl Stonehewer, very consistent. 2 second place in white. Ray Morton, yellow and black. I'll say 6 going through, irrespective of the 4 Grand Prix riders. So a lot at stake for these riders, and somebody down on the 6 or 7 point mark could well make it through to an overseas final here this afternoon. Settling for heat number 10, the halfway heat of this first set of races, the first 20 heats, of course. Away to a clean start. Walsh made a good game. Norris has got with Stonehewer in the axle. Walsh pushed everybody wide in that first corner, and Dave Walsh leads in the back straight there. And Carl Stonehewer, real aggressive first corner. Dave Norris looks to be in trouble at the back, but Carl Stonehewer came from absolutely nowhere. They didn't make the best of starts. They really screwed on the power round the outside of this pits corner. He leads it then. And then the rider in yellow-black, Ray Morton, has got round the outside of David Walsh, so David Walsh has dropped from first to third. Dave Norris a long way to contend to the back after a disastrous first corner, but Carl Stonehewer really making it count now. Morton second, Walsh not looking so impressive this time. They race into that pits corner once again, starting to spread themselves out now in this heat number 10. As Stonehewer then from Morton, Walsh in third, Norris at the back as they take the last lap flags. Looks like 7 of the 9 coming up for Long Eaton's Carl Stonehewer as he leads into this pits corner for the final time. Morton in second, Dave Walsh dropping a couple of surprise points here in third. Dave Norris way off the pace at the back as Carl Stonehewer picks up his first impressive one of the afternoon. Carl Stonehewer gets the win. Second there is Ray Morton, and in third place it's David Walsh.
Carl Stonehewer. He ripped into life at the British Championship semi-finals. Was certainly doing himself full credit in that one. A good race win for him.
So the result of heat number 10 and winning white for Carl Stonehewer. In a winning time of 63 seconds, exactly. Second in yellow-black was Ray Morton, and third in red, David Walsh. The time once again, 63 seconds, dead.
So on we go to heat number 11, which will be one of the best spinning racings of the afternoon. Neil Collins rides in red, unbeaten Joe Screen is in blue. Ben Howe, winner last time out in white, and 5 out of 6 for Calvin Taylor, the rider in yellow and black. So a last minute swapping of bikes there by Calvin Tatum by the pitscape. Brother Neville was just pulling the machine out. The bike that Calvin went out on he was not happy with. He'd been warming up both bikes up in the pits prior to that last race, but quick swapping of bikes for Calvin Tatum. Tries a practice start there halfway down the back straight. Looked impressive in winning his first outing, but of course was pushed into second place in his second ride by Chris Louis. So Neil Collins on gate 1, Joe Screen gate 2, Ben Howe gate 3, Calvin Tatum gate 4. There seems to be a lot of drive on the outside of this pits corner as Carl Stonehewer used to good effect in his last outing. So nobody wants to settle first for this heat 11. Collins, Screen, Howe and Tatum. Screen the last to settle in that number 2 gate. Off already, a clean start and Screen makes a good gate. Tatum gets a Screen, gets a corner first, pushes Tatum one, Tatum screws on the power around the outside of this pistol, but Screen's got the advantage. Screen shows in from Tatum. Collins in third with Ben Howe at the back. Screen's wide in that bottom corner. Tatum trying to squeeze through on the inside, but Screen leads in from Tatum. It's Howe in third, Collins at the back, and Joe Screen building himself a good lead over Calvin Tatum, who's struggling to keep back the challenge of Ben Howe in that second place. This is going to take a good rider to stop Joe Screen here this afternoon. He's powering away from Tatum, nose in second. Howe gets tremendous drive around the outside of that Coventry turn. In fact, those two wide. Collins slips through in the third place. This is where the main action is for this third place position. A Screen a mile away at the front. It's still Tatum in second. Collins lifts alarmingly half in that back straight allows. Then had a big burst round the outside of that bottom cover. Still Collins hanging on to third as they start lap 4 this time then. It's Screen, clear of Tatum. Collins in back starting to close him on Tatum for that second place position. Howe's all over the place at the back. As Joe Screen looks like making it 9 to 9. He'll be the only unbeaten rider at the end of the stage. 9 to 9 for Joe Screen. He gets the win. Second, Calvin Tatum. Third place, Neil Collins. And Joe Screen now starting to stamp his authority on this 1996 British final.
Joe Screen, well done, Joe. Bradford certainly in this one tonight.
Yes, indeed, the result then of heat number 11, a win in red, I beg your pardon, blue for Joe Screen, in a time of 62.3 seconds. Second in yellow-black was Calvin Tatum, and third in red, Neil Collins. Time once again, 62.3 seconds.
And the quick time there for Joe Screen. 62.3 is winning time for heat 11, heat 12. Simon Cross is in red. Simon on the 3-point mark. It's Gary Havelock needs the points, in fact just a 3-point mark as well. He is in blue. Paul Thorpe on the 2-point mark in white, and Dave Mullet on the 4-point mark is in yellow and black. So 4 riders coming in for heat 12, the interval heat of this 1996 British final. Cross, Havelock, Thorpe and Mullet. Away to a clean start, and Mullet for the outside middle, a tremendous gate. Havelock taking attention off Cross, gives Havelock a shot there. Havelock nice around the outside. That was a hard first corner. Simon Cross gave Gary Havelock a tremendous shove on that first corner, but Havelock was having none of it. He leads now, completing lap number 1. It's Cross in second, look at the line through on the inside.
as it's Havelock just ahead, then across Thorpe in third. Dave Mullen made a good gate for the outside, finding himself at the back of the moments. Cross again, squeeze inside Havelock, but Havelock that quicker line back round the outside. It's Havelock who has the advantage. They complete lap number 2. Cross again comes for the inside run, but Havelock just that quicker line, a couple of right from Cross dies for the inside line again. Havelock back round the outside, half a right between they move. Then the back straight, Mullet starting to close 1-4, but they'll scrap for third place. As Cross from the cut back inside Havelock as they come on to start lap 4 this time. There's Havelock just the advantage of the Cross. A right between they roar into this pit corner. Havelock takes a much tighter line, closes Cross down this time. Still fourth in third. Dave Mullen at the back as Gary Havelock corrects his first winning ride of the afternoon. Gary Havelock gets the win. Second is Simon Cross. Third place, it's 4-4.
It's been a long time coming for Gather. Gary Havelock picks his first win of the evening.
We'll take the break and back with part 2 of this British Championship 96 in a moment.
So the result then of heat number 12 and the win in blue for Gary Havelock. His winning time was 62.9 seconds. Second in red was Simon Cross and third in white, Paul Thorpe. Time once again 62.9 seconds.
Simon Cross with me now. Simon, a crucial second place for you in your last ride.
Yeah, it was good when I was hoping to get a win there, but you know, just lost out a little bit just to the first corner. But no, I'm you know, just basically collecting the points along the way and try and reach you know, whichever final that we can.
And with this new system, of course, the 4 Grand Prix lads are already through, so 6th place, you're still in the chance of getting one of those top 6 places.
Yeah, 6th place, you know, it's all up for grabs. But at the end of the day, everybody wants to be British champion, and you got to get in the final top 4 there. But there's a couple of races to go yet, and anything can happen. So we just keep plugging away, and hopefully, you know, we'll have enough to qualify. If we don't, then you know, we've done our best, and that's all we can do.
Fair bit of dirt out there. How's the track riding?
Yeah, track's riding pretty good. It's spiked it up a bit, and there's a bit more water than usual. But it's not wet, you know. It's holds together well, but you got. It seems to be getting a little bit heavy on the outside there, and the guys are just starting to come in. But no, it's as in previous British finals. Everybody's complained about how slick the track's been, and he's done a very good job tonight.
I think everybody's delighted to see you here after Friday. That was an horrendous crash at Peterborough Friday.
Was it? I can't remember it, to be honest. I remember leaving the workshop on the afternoon and so that's it. But it's not the sort of thing I want to go through again. Thankfully, nothing was broken, all in one piece. Just, you know, wrote off the helmet, a couple of bits on the bike, but you know, I'm in one piece. I'm still suffering a little bit of a headache and a sore arm, but you know, we've got a week off this week, so it should be ready for next weekend.
Thanks, Sam. Best luck your next 2 rides.
Thank you.
Chris Lewin, you know. Chris, after a disastrous start, 2 cracking wins, you're still very much in contention.
Yeah, it's obviously the beauty of having a final at the end. You know, you can afford one slip up at least, and obviously it was in my first one, which is a bit of a shame.
What was it the mechanical problem in your first ride? Because you looked so quick in the second and third rides.
Yeah, I don't know, the bike wouldn't rev. I think we had it set up wrong. I had it set up very similar to when we was here in the league match, and you know, I think the conditions caught me out a little bit, so whether it was just a setup or whether there is a problem with that bike, I don't know, but we hopped on the other one, and you know, that's going really good. So
you say you thought the conditions might have caught you out. There's a fair bit of dirt out there tonight.
Yeah, there is. You know, often for big meetings it looks like it's going to be grippy and doesn't turn out to be so. So you know, I didn't think there was going to be that much dirt out there, and obviously it turns out there was. And I think I just had the bike set up completely wrong and the wrong bike. So you know, it's in the background now as a spare, because I think now when it gets slicker it'll be okay. But you know, it's unfortunate, but obviously, like I say, we jumped on the other bike, and it seems to be going very, very well at the moment.
As a Grand Prix rider, you're obviously going to qualify. Is it not the same pressure now as the old British finals, knowing the fact that you don't need actually to get in the top place here today, or are you still keen to be British champion?
No, I think everyone here is keen to be British champion. I think probably what changes for the Grand Prix guys here today is the fact that as the meeting goes on, you know, they've either got a chance of being British champion or they haven't, but they haven't got anything else to go for, you know. So I think it's now where you know, you can feel the pressure's easing off, whether you're having a good day or a bad day. But I think, you know, everybody here wants to be British champion. To me, other than being world champion, it's the next best thing, I think.
So heat 13 then, Dave Mullet rides in red, David Walsh in blue, Calvin Tedham, he's a winner, keeping contention, Andy Smith in yellow and black. Dave Mullet on the 4 6-point mark. Calvin Tatum on the 7-point mark. Andy Smith is on the 8-point mark, is on the 6-point mark. So all four of these pretty evenly balanced. Calvin Tatum needs a win. He's got the 7 points, the same as Carl Stonia. So an equal second place at the moment. Needs to win this to keep the pressure on Joe Screen, who is out in heat number 16. So Mullet, Walsh, Tatum and Smith. All four away to a clean start. Tatum makes a good game to figure. David Walsh has made a brilliant start. Pushes Tatum one and up. Tatum screws it on round the edge, and Tatum gets round Walsh. Andy Smith finding himself at the back of the moment. As it's Tatum who shows in from Walsh. It's Smith in third. It's Mullet in third with Andy Smith at the back as they complete lap number 1. So Tatum knew he had to get 3 points here. David Walsh made a super start, but Tatum got round the outside of him. It's Tatum who's clearer than Walsh. It's still Mullet in third with Andy Smith at the back. I don't think it's going to be Andy Smith here to get the British crown, but of course with this new system anything could still happen. But Tatum's well away at the front. Still Walsh in second. What a good British final he's having. Dave Mullet coming under pressure for that third place from Andy Smith with the Reading skipper still hanging on to that third place position as Calvin Tatum now leads onto lap number 4. Andy Smith falls in an untidy heap at the back when trying to get round the outside of Dave Mullet. That could be crucial for Andy Smith. Dave Mullet's all over the place on this pits corner this time as Calvin Tatum comes through to pick up his second victory of the evening. Calvin Tatum gets the win. Second there having a good British final is David Walsh, and in third place it's Dave Mullet.
Out at the Royal Long Track final. Still a strong competitor at speedway level, and turned out at the end of last season for the England team and really scorched around the King's Lynn track in a test match he rode at.
Yes, indeed, the result of heat 13 and a winning white for Calvin Tatum. His winning time was 62.3 seconds. Second in blue was David Walsh, and third in red, David Mullet. Time once again, 62.3 seconds.
So a real quick time there for so late in the meeting. Calvin Tatum clocked 62.3 for winning heat 13. Heat 14, Ray Morton rides in red. It's Simon Cross in blue, Neil Collins in white, and the pointless James Greaves in yellow and black. Simon Cross on the 5-point mark, so a win here would move him up to 8 and still keep him very much in contention. So at the gate 4, heat 14, Ray Morton gate 1, Simon Cross gate 2, Neil Collins gate 3, James Greaves gate number 4. Already then 4, heat number 4, Morton, Cross, Collins and Greaves, and Cross makes a good gate. Collins gets it back, Collins gets a forward first, Cross gets squeezed out this first corner, and James Greaves into the fence and untidy heap on that pits corner. Is a real hard first corner, but James Greaves really wasn't involved in anything. They're still battling it out there. Neil Collins says he's a surprise leader at the moment. He won't be too pleased with that one being stopped, because that's the first decent gate Neil has made, and he was well away at the front there, but James Greaves quickly on his feet, obviously excluded as the primary cause of the stoppage.
So the race, of course, stopped in the interest of safety. Will be rerun without the rider in yellow-black. That's James Greaves.
So Ray Morton gate 1, Simon Cross on gate 2, Neil Collins gate number 3. I'll say a win for Simon Cross will move him up on the 3-point and the 8-point mark, which are keeping very much in contention. Heat 14 restart, and Mullet, and it's Morton making a good start on the inside. Cross getting Collins a minute best of start this time, and Morton taking Cross really wide in this first, not to allow Collins to get through. Cross lifts alarmingly coming out of that pit's going to lose his second place to Neil Collins. That was a real aggressive hard first corner by Ray Morton. Leads now can put in lap number 1. Collins in second, Cross in third. Cross trying to plough their way through on the inside of Collins, but Collins that quicker line round the outside, and Simon Cross can't afford a third place here. As it's Morton who shows then from Collins. Cross again trying to power their way through on the inside lines. They come on to complete lap number 2 then. Morton from Collins, Cross in third. A win for Ray Morton. He will keep him very much in contention. Collins goes from the inside of the track to the outside, coming off that corner. So keeps Simon Cross pegged back in that third place position as coming on the start lap 4 then. It's Morton clear of Collins. Cross in third. And the back straight for the final time, and this could prove to be a disastrous ride here for Simon Cross. He's back in third place in the 3 at the moment as Ray Morton leads into that bottom corner for the top time. Ray Morton gets a win. Second, Neil Collins. Third place, Simon Ross.
So the result of P14 and the win in red for Ray Morton in a time of 63.4 seconds. Second in white was Neil Collins and third in blue Simon Cross. Time once again 63.4 seconds.
So heat number 15 then, it's Alan Roster on the 3-point mark in right in red. Ben Howe also on the 3-point mark in blue. Another 3-point man, Paul Thorpe in white, Dave Norris on the 2-point mark in yellow and black. Of course, a win 3, the roster of Howe or Thorpe would keep them very much in touch, but riders seem to be dropping points all over the place here this afternoon, apart from Joe Screen, who's unbeaten in his opening 3 and in fact is out in the next race. Heat 15, Rossiter, Howe, Thorpe and Norris. Away to a clean leg and Norris makes a superstar. The 4-gate roster, 3 to the second lane, Paul Thorpe finding himself at the back of the moment. Dave Norris went a superstar from the outside, really made it count on that first corner. Roster in second, Howe in third, Paul Thorpe at the back as Norris leads, then can put in lap number 1. Rossiter still in second, Howe in third, Thorpe corner squeeze from the inside, Ben Howe for that third plate. They're bunching up the second, third and fourth as Norris slowly but surely is pulling away the front. Still Roster in second. Howe gives everything around the outside of that bottom corner, tries to come alongside Roster. Good scrap for this second place as Norris goes there to Roster. Howe again right round the boards on this pitch corner. Can he get round Roster? This time he's back alongside Roster, but Roster still hanging on to that second place position. And still Norris then from Roster. Howe again using every inch of this Coventry track to try and get round the outside of Alan Roster to snatch that second place as Norris leads in the back straight for the full time. Roster in fact getting closer now. Now Ben Howe has got the line round the edge of Roster to move for the second place. Can he get round the edge of Dave Norris this time? Coming interesting. Last corner, it's Norris on the inside. Howe goes to drive round the outside. That's desperately tight there between Norris and Howe. But what a great ride there by Ben Howe. Whether he's finished first or second, he has used every inch of this Coventry track, mainly around the outside. He first of all took 3 laps to get by Alan Rossiter and may have snatched it from Dave Norris on the line.
And they quite rightly come all the way around for this one. Come on, let's give them a cheers. Say, come on down, we're home straight away. And as I say, we'll wait for your confirmation, David.
Thanks, Peter. Yes, the result of heat 15 and what a heat it was. The winner, though, in blue, Ben Howe. And Ben's winning time, 63.8 seconds. Second in yellow-black was David Norris, and third in red, Alan Rossiter. Time once again, 63.8 seconds.
Well, a bit chilly round the old nether regions as we turn our attentions to number 16. With Joe Screen in this one, unbeaten so far in this British Championship.
So can anyone get anywhere near Joe Screen as Chris Lewis at the interval? The fact that he didn't have that problem in his first ride still doesn't rule him out of a race in the A final. Gary Havelock needs the points himself. His teammate Joe Screen this one. I think Gary has got to be looking for a win himself to get through to that A final. Of course, already through as a Grand Prix rider, but still looking to take a third British crown. So Joe Screen gate 1, Chris Lewis on gate 2. Scurry Havelock gate 3 and Carl Stonehewer gate number 4. So nobody wants to settle first for what could be a vital heat number 16. You can't say that it's going to decide the crown, of course. That will be decided in the A final, irrespective of how many points they get in the first 20 heats. But these 4 riders certainly looking to get into an A final. Somebody's got to come in last in this one. So Screen, Louis, Havelock and Stonehewer. Settle in for heat 16, just waiting for Chris Lewis to settle in that 2 gate. All four ready, green lights on, a clean start, Screen's made a good gate, Stonier's got out the outside, Screen gets the corner first, pushes Louis wide, Havelock for the squeeze on the inside, the Screen's got the power around the outside, and Stonier trying to come into contention, gets to the third pushing, Gary Havelock to the back as Joe Screen leads in from Louis in second, Stonier in third, Havelock at the back and trying to squeeze back inside Stonier, and now Louis gets on the inch of Screen, tremendous right there by Chris Louis getting on the inch of Joe Screen, as Louis shows in from Screen, it's Stonier in third, Havelock at the back, Screen trying to come back round the outside of Louis, but Louis has the advantage this time as Screen's there, nip and tuck with him, as Louis then from Screen, it's Stonier in third, Havelock at the back, and that could be disaster for Gary Havelock if he gets the last play this one, but Chris Louis slowly but surely is pulling away from Joe Screen, they come on to start lap number 4, Louis then from Screen, Stonier in third, Havelock still looking for that third place, ahead of Carl Stonier, as down the back straight for the time, it's Louis long way clear of Screen, under pressure now from Stonier for that second place, pushing Havelock at the back, as Chris Louis keeps him heading wide over by winning this one, Chris Louis gets a win, second there, and he lost that second place, Joe Screen, because Carl Stonier was very close to it at the end, but to win there for Chris Louis. And certainly Joe Screen can have no complaints for that. It was first out the gate, took everybody wide, looked to have that one in the bag, but Chris Louis powering underneath him on the second lap.
Oh boy. So the riders come back to the pits as they get into the meeting.
So the result in heat 16, a win in blue for Chris Louis in a time of 62.5 seconds. Second in red was Joe Screen, and third in yellow-black, Carl Stonier. The time once again, 62.5 seconds. Of course, a bit of delay between heat 16 and 17 with Carl Stonier having 2 rides on the trot, so it gives us a chance to have a look at the individual score charts now after all the riders have had 4 rides. So top to tail, Andy Smith has 6, Ray Morton 6, Ben Howe also 6 points, Gary Havelock also on 6, Dave Norris is on 4, Chris Louis 9, Dave Mullett 5, Neil Collins 4, Joe Screen 11, Paul Thorpe 3, James Greaves had no score, David Walsh 8, Simon Cross 6, Calvin Tatum 10, Carl Stonier 8, and Alan Rossiter 4 points. That's the scoring then after the 4 races.
So on we go to heat number 17, the last 4 qualifying heats. It's Andy Smith, needs a point. He's on the 6-point mark, he's in red. Neil Collins in blue. 2 on the trot for Carl Stonier, who has certainly been the shock merchant here this afternoon. He's on the 8-point mark in white. Paul Thorpe, 3 points, yellow and black. Andy Smith, I think, desperate for a win here to get into that A final, to stand any chance of regaining his crown. Carl Stonier said a surprise package. Point clear of Andy Smith at the present moment. So it's Smith on 1, Collins on 2, Stonier 3, Thorpe on gate number 4. All 4 ready to tape, screen lights on. A clean start, and Thorpe makes the good get there. Andy Smith goes to Stonier, gets after Stonier, gets the corner first. Andy Smith trying to squeeze a line through on the inside, but Stonier round the outer Smith. That was a super first corner there by Carl Stonier. It's clear of Andy Smith. It's Paul Thorpe in third place. Neil Collins in the back, but Collins flips back inside Thorpe to retake that third. Stonier then from Smith. Collins in third, Paul Thorpe at the back, and then the back straight they go once again. What a superb British final this is proving to be for Carl Stonier. He leads now, can put in lap number 2, clear of Smith. Collins lifts coming out of that bottom corner, but still hangs on to his third place position. As Long Eaton Invader and Carl Stonier leads that back straight once again. Smith in second, these two pulling away from Collins. Paul Thorpe having a disappointing British final after a good performance here for Hull in the league match on this same Coventry track, and onto that 4. Smith definitely getting a little bit close to Stonier, but Stonier has about 2 lengths advantage. They roared in the back straight for the final time. Still Collins in third with Thorpe at the back, and Carl Stonier comes to finish off the mini with a winning ride. Carl Stonier gets a win. He's been the surprise package here this afternoon. Second there, Andy Smith. Third place, it's Neil Collins.
And Central Prayer, obviously pleased with that outing for himself, and Nick Clayton as well.
Carl Stonier then from Long Eaton. The car, let's give him a cheer. A young trier from Long Eaton. The Invaders gets the flag there. Your race winner, Carl Stonier. All right. Especially for the Long Eaton fans, as he plays to the gallery. and who can blame him? Stoney is there.
So the result of heat number 17, the winning white for Carl Stone here. His winning time was 63.4 seconds. Second in red was Andy Smith, and third in blue, Neil Collins. The time once again, 63.4 seconds.
Just 1 point drop to the screen machine.
And really, Joe Screen, I think, shouldn't have too many problems winning this heat number 18, but Ray Moore has been in the thick of the action all the afternoon. So the four riders settling for heat 18, just waiting for Alan Ross to settle in that four gate. So Screen, Morton, Mullet and Rossiter all four ready. Joe Screen makes a super start for the inside, and Ray Morton gets a Dave Mullet to the actual. Mullet gets pushed wide by Screen, who takes everybody wide on that first corner. Rossiter finding himself at the back. It's Screen who shows then for Morton. Mullet in third. Rossiter at the back as they come to complete. Latimore and Joe Screen made sure nobody was going to get through on the inside him on that first corner. As Screen cleared under Morton. Mullet in third. Rossiter at the back, and they make their way to the back straight on lap number 2. So looks like Joe Screen well on course for 3 points in this heat number 18. He leaves no company in lap number 2. Well clear of Morton in second. Mullet in third. Rossiter at the back, and they make their way down the back straight. And once again, Screen increased that lead all the time over the Reading racer. Ray Morton, another Reading racer in third place. That's Dave Mullet. They come on to start lap 4 this time. Screen clear of Morton. Mullet in third. Rossiter packs up there at the back. I think his chance are probably gone of getting into either of these finals now, as Joe Screen comes to the pick of his fourth winning ride of the afternoon. Joe Screen is who gets the win. Screen gets the win. Second there is Ray Morton. Third place it's Dave Mullet. So of course, under normal course of proceedings, after being runner-up 3 times, Joe Screen, in fact, if it had been a normal formula, would have been British champion with 14 points, but he's still got one more race to go.
So the result of heat number 18, and a win in red for Joe Screen in a time of 62.6 seconds. Second in blue was Ray Morton, and third in white, David Mullet. The time once again, 62.6 seconds.
So coming out then for heat 19, Ben Howe on the 6-point mark in red. David Walsh on the 8-point mark, needs 3 points to be sure of a place to finally he's in blue. Simon Cross, 6-point mark, is in white, and Chris Louis on the 9-point mark in yellow and black. So vital one for all of these. Louis needs a win to be sure of getting through. Walsh needs a win to be sure of getting through. A second place for either will see them on 11, and depending on what Calvin Teddem does in the next, we could have a lot of riders pushing for that 4 places in the A final. So a crucial one for all 4 of these. I think with 9 points, Cross and Ben Howe can well be out of it, but of course if they manage to beat Walsh or Louis, then they could still come into contention. So all sorts of permutations for these 4 riders in heat number 19. So Howe red, Walsh blue, Cross white, Louis yellow and black. A clean start. Louis makes a good gate from the 4 gate. Ben Howe in the action, and it's Simon Cross back to lead him in his biscuit. David Walsh trying to squeeze with Chris Louis, finding himself at the back of the moment. Simon Cross shows him, and Louis picks up 2 riders to drop in the second place behind Simon Cross. They come and complete lap number 1, and it's Cross who shows for Louis. It's Walsh in third place. Ben Howe at the back. He put a blanket over 4. Cross has gone too wide. Miss Pisco. Louis almost squeezing. So Cross straightens up quickly and has the advantage 2 bike length over Louis going inside bottom corner. Cross on the inside. Louis goes for drive round the outside, but still the home favourite Keith McVeigh. It's Cross centre Louis. Now Ben Howe has got round the outside of David Walsh to move to third place. And all that's happening, Chris Louis slipped through on the inside of Simon Cross. Cross trying to hit back on the inside line. Super action heat number 19 as Louis shows them from Cross. Cross lifts coming out of that bottom corner. He's back up Louis ignores right now. Louis round the outside. Cross on the inside. Howe in third place. Surprise last place here coming up for David Walsh as Chris Louis comes right through from last to first to win heat 19 to get into that A final. Chris Louis gets the win. Second there is Simon Cross. Third place, Ben Howe, disastrous start there, but Chris Louis come through from fourth to first, and I think that they finally could well win a man to watch.
And the result of heat 19 and a win there in yellow-black for Chris Louis, in a time of 63.3 seconds. Second in white was Simon Cross, and third in red, Ben Howe. The time once again, 63.3 seconds.
And it looks as if Carl Stonia is going to squeeze through that 8 final. That's a tremendous performance for the Long Eaton rider, and certainly the best performance of his career so far. Irrespective of where he finishes, to get into that 8 final is a tremendous performance. So nobody wants to settle for this seat number 20. Moving the line, engine begin to pick up the revs, the green light comes on. A clean start, Tedder's made a good start with a 2-gate. Havelock gets in, and all three of them. Tedder goes wide to push Havelock wide, and that kept the rider in red. Dave Norris throwing the into with Tatum. Back round the outside, good first corner there by Calvin Tedder. He went wide to push Havelock out. That let Norris through, but Tatum quickly got back round the outside, and Dave Norris has gone from first to last as Tatum shows in with Havelock. Norris in third place, with James Graves at the back, and they make their way in that back straight once again, so looking pretty good. Former, and Tatum's bike has gone. Calvin Tatum's bike has gone, going into that Coventry corner, so just as a lock deserted him a few seasons ago in the British final when engine failure robbed him of the title. Has it robbed him of the title now? As it's Havelock who shows in from Norris. Greaves in third place. Desperately bad luck there on Calvin Tatum as they come on to start lap number 4 this time. It's Havelock who shows in from Norris. It's Greaves in third, going to pick up his first point. Absolutely heartbroken. This Calvin Tatum, twice he's possibly robbed of a British crown by an engine failure when well clear the front. And it's Gary Havelock who gets the win. Second there is Dave Norris. Third place it's James Greaves.
So the result of heat number 20 and a win there in yellow-black for Gary Havelock. His running time was 64.3 seconds. Second in red was David Norris, and third in white, James Greaves. The time once again, 64.3 seconds.
So then we'll be making the selections for the C and final here in the pits, and as you would expect, the qualifiers for the big final will be made down there on the line. So the C and B final nominations for that coming up just as soon as Graham Reeves, the manager of the SGB, has adjudicated on who goes where.
For the C final, as I saw it, the only problem was which rider was going to ride in the B, because you've got those with 8s. They do it on race winners. Simon Cross is the only one not to win a race, so he is in the C final, has first choice of gates. He goes for white. Ben Howe's got 7 points. He had second choice. He goes in yellow and black. It's Dave Mullet with third choice in blue and Dave Norris in red. So it looks as if the top 2 from this C final will qualify for the overseas. Of course, the Grand Prix riders don't ride in that, so there's 4 riders here looking for the first 2 places to make up the 6 that go through to the overseas final. So all 4 riders at the tapes: Norris, Mullet, Cross and Howe. Away to a clean, big Cross made a good gate in the 3 gate. It's Dave Norris who gets in front of the Cross on the squeeze in. Mullet pushing wide. Howe has made a dreadful gate in the 4 gate. Got to do it from the back. He wants victory. As Norris shows in from Cross, it's Mullet and Howe battling it out the 3rd and 4th, and Howe trying to come round the edge of Cross to get that second place position. As Norris shows in from Cross, Howe in 3rd place. Mullet at the back as they make their way in the back straight once again. Now Cross gets inside Norris. Norris that quicker line back round the outside. as Norris just sent from Cross, having close contention third. Mullet at the back as they complete lap number 2. So Dave Norris from the Eastbourne Eagles leads it. Cross for the home track rider trying to squeeze through on the inside. Cross comes alongside Norris, but Norris just had quicker line back round the outside as Norris sent from Cross. Cross again trying to bore a hole through on the inside of Norris, but Norris has got the quicker line coming out of that Coventry turn, but Cross might slip through on the inside this time. No, it's still Norris that shows them from Cross. How in third, Mullet at the back as down the back straight they go for the final time. Looks if Dave Norris is going to take the advantage in this C final. Cross in close attendance in second. Dave Norris wins the C final. Second Simon Cross, and in third place it's Ben Howe.
Won there in red by David Norris in a time of 64 seconds exactly. Second in white was Simon Cross, and third in yellow-black Ben Howe. Time once again 64 seconds exactly.
We'll do the A final down on the line, but for the B final, taking the ride in red will be Andy Smith. Andy Smith in red. In blue, Gary Havelock. Gary Havelock blue. You've probably already spotted David Walsh coming on the track in white. David Walsh white. And Ray Morton in yellow and black.
So Dave Norris, Simon Cross booked their passage through to the overseas final. And Ben Howe will be the first reserve. The B final, Andy Smith in red, Gary Havelock in blue, David Walsh in white, and Ray Morton, very much a surprise package this afternoon. He's in yellow and black. Smith, of course, and Havelock already in the Grand Prix, so it means Walsh and Morton, irrespective where they finish in this B final, will qualify for the overseas final. The same applies, of course, to Carl Stonewer and Calvin Tatum in the A final, irrespective of where they finish.
And in yellow, Ray Morton.
So Walsh on 8 to
the way they line up.
Smith on 8, Morton on 8, Gary Havelock on 9. So 2 former British champions. One thing's for sure, Andy Smith's not going to make it 4 consecutive British crowns. He's in this B final this evening. Because still the only English rider to win 3 consecutive British finals. So Smith 1, Havelock 2, Walsh 3, Morton gate number 4. Settle then for the B final, away to a clean start. Smith makes a good gate from the inside, but the rider on the outside, Ray Morton, very much Havelock in contention. Ray Morton gets round the edge of everybody, and it's a surprise package. Ray Morton leads into that Coventry, and Ray Morton's bike has gone. What a disastrous way for endurance, but a super afternoon for the league. Clear now for Andy Smith from Havelock in second, Walsh in third place. As down the back straight they go on lap number 2. What a disaster there for Ray Morton after putting in a splendid afternoon's racing. But it's the former British champion Andy Smith who leads this B final. Now can put in lap number 2. His teammate from Bradford, Gary Havelock, in close attendance. It's Walsh in third as they make their way to that back straight once again. Still Smith from Havelock. These two pulling away from David Walsh, a dejected Ray Morton pushing his bike back up towards the pits. They start lap 4 this time, and Andy Smith looks like ending his evening as he began it with a winning ride. He's clear of Havelock. Walsh a long way back in third place, but of course both Morton and Walsh go through to the overseas final as it's Andy Smith who gets the win. Second Gary Havelock, third place is David Walsh, and desperately bad luck there on Ray Morton.
Result then of the B final, a win in red for Andy Smith. And Andy's winning time 64.2 seconds. Second in blue was Gary Havelock, and third in white, David Walsh. The time once again 64.2 seconds.
So the Group A finalists coming out now, ladies and gentlemen. And let's hear you being a little bit noisy as we sing them ringing out for you. We got Chris Louis here, Calvin Tatum. Stoney has gone away from the fans, and Joe Screen, here as the forward, going to generate the first, second and third for this 1996 British final is going to be determined on this race. And what a night it's been for these 4 competitors. And a nervous time for you guys, Stoney.
Yeah, I've done all the hard work. I'm not really bothered now. Obviously it'd be nice to win, but as long as I enjoy myself, I'm not going to let the pressure get to me.
Well, let's first of all bring the lead rider down to the line to make his choice. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Joe Screen. Come on down to the line. Have a quick look. Looks at gate 1. Again at 2. An important time then for the riders. Joe Screen making his selection. Dismisses 4. Joe Screen goes for blue. Joe Screen goes for the blue. Gate number 2 start line. Well done, Screeny. Next up we invite Chris Louis down to the line. Thank you, Chris. Of course, looking at 1 then, we know 2's gone. I'm sure of 3 or 4. What do you reckon, Chris? Chris Louis then going for red on the inside. Okay. Carl Stone here up. Stanley taking a bit of time then. His option of white or yellow, 3 and 4. The choice is Carl's. Blimey. What are you planting? Potatoes? I don't blame you for that. Stoney? Stoney right off gate 3. Can I interest you in gate 4, Calvin? No. This one. Do you want to test it? Perfect. Well, we knew that. Calvin Tatum goes for yellow.
Tatum, of course, a former British champion. Joe Screen's been second over the last 3 years. Chris Louis once finished third. Carl Stonia, this is a new step in his career, riding in this A final. Who will it be? The start obviously is going to be crucial. We don't know what bike Calvin Tatum will be riding, but certainly the second bike is not as good as his number 1 machine, but it could well be that Screen and Louis will be watching one another, and if Tatum would have started, he could be the dark horse here. I'm a little bit surprised that Louis went for the inside of Screen. Screen had first choice, he chose gate number 2. Chris Louis had second choice, he chose gate 1, then Carl Stonia, and Calvin Tatum was left with gate number 4. So it's Louis, the last to settle in that inside gate. He's the only rider to beat Joe Screen here this afternoon. Screen comes in it with 14 points. Louis comes in it with 12 points. Stonia has got 11 and Tatum has got 10. So Louis, Screen, Stonia and Tatum. All 4 now ready for the final race of the day. Green lights on. Who's going to get the start? Tatum touching the tapes. What rules are we racing under? What will happen about that? So a little bit of drama there as Calvin Tatum touching the tapes. He goes out. That means Carl Stonia is assured of at least a 3rd place. So a little bit of an anticlimax there with Calvin Tatum touching the tapes in the A final.
The climax of the British Championship. Oh boy. David will confirm that, I guess.
Yes, I can confirm, unfortunately, Calvin Tatum has been excluded for touching the tapes. So the remaining 3 riders then go on the 2-minute time allowance.
So the 3 remaining riders then, Chris Louis, Joe Screen, Carl Stonia. It means that Carl Stonia is sort of at least a 3rd place in this British final. What a shock that could prove to be. 3 riders ready, green lights on.
a clean start. Who's going to get the start? Screen made the start. He closed it. Louis in that first one. Estonia trying to get the axis. Joe Screen leads in the back straight. It's Louis in second. In fact, Estonia gets round the edge of Louis to move for the second place, but Louis comes in on the inside line. And it's Screen then just ahead of Louis. Carl Estonia very much in contention in third place. And they roar into this pit corner once again then. Screen for Louis. It's Estonia and I think Chris Louis made a mistake by choosing the inside gate. Screen got the start and closed him down, and it's Screen starting to pull away now as they complete lap number 2. Screen then from Louis. Estonia in third place. Starters for themselves out this 8 follow Screen. Louis goes to drive on the inside. Screen's got the speed round the outside, and after being runner-up for the last 3 years, Joe Screen's got a lap and a quarter to go to lift this 1996 British crown. Chris Louis definitely getting closer, and Louis goes on the inside, but Screen powers back round the outside. I think Screen's playing with Louis at the moment. A last determined effort by Louis on the inside of that Coventry corner, but Joe Screen to get the British title. Joe Screen gets the win. Second, Chris Louis. Third place, Carl Estonia was absolutely delighted about that. I think personally that Chris Louis made a mistake by choosing the inside. Sweeney just got the corner first. He went round the outside, closed Louis down on that first corner. Estonia momentarily got the second place, but Louis quickly picked him off. So the British champion, after 3 years of being runner-up, is Bradford's Joe Screen. Second is Chris Louis, and a tremendous third goes to Carl Estonia.
And we'll be bringing those 3 riders back down to the line for the official presentations in a moment. David, confirm the results.
Certainly do that, Peter. The winner in blue, of course, Joe Screen, the British champion, and his time was 62.9 seconds. Second in red was Chris Louis, and third in white, Carl Estonia. That time, once again, 62.9 seconds.
As soon as we can, we'll bring the 3 rostrum place riders right here to our presentation rostrum. We'll just give them a few moments just to turn themselves round in the pits. Here they come then. The new British champion 1996 is Joe Screen. He's first out in the Lincoln Continental, flanked with the second place man, Chris Louis, and third position to Carl Estonia as they make their way around to join us on the rostrum. Bringing them up in reverse order as was always done traditionally for the British final, and at any major World Championship event as well. So we're bringing them post-race down here to the line. The presentation of the garlands about to be presented. And ladies and gentlemen, we've got to get in a rocket ship, a blitz of appreciation for perhaps the man who started as one of the underdogs in this championship. But boy, oh boy, what a night it's been. The third place man, Carl Estonia! So, Mrs. Mason hands over the garland to Carl Estonia. Terry Russell, chairman of the BSPA, has the third place trophy for Carl, as we invite him to take his place on the rostrum. That's yours. There you go, Carl Estonia. Pieces country is. Ladies and gentlemen, the runner-up for this 96 British final, Chris Louis. The garland again for Chris. Terry Russell has the trophy. Yeah, put it on. There you go. Second place man, Chris Louis. up there in second place. But ladies and gentlemen, the new British Speedway champion 1996 is Joe Screen! Well done, Screeny. So, what an amount of awards for him. The presentation of the Laurel Leaves, the trophy from Mr. Terry Russell. Vic Dutton is here for the Jack Parker Shield. Come on, Vic, come on down. No stranger to Speedways. Gets the Jack Parker Shield. And Trevor Hedge, although he's not going to lift it above his head, has the brand new GM laydown engine. Trevor, you can do for a moment, Joe, as we bring Trevor down to the GM laydown. That's also yours, Joe. Ladies and gentlemen, your British champ, Chase Green! Screeny, how do you feel?
Oh, what do you know, this one's from my granddad who passed away about, 2 weeks ago. This isn't for him. I hope everybody gets behind now and I can win another title.
Yeah, well, I hope so. Being runner up so often, it must be great to be standing there.
Yeah, it's really the shoulders, I did all I can and Chris passed me in one, but at the end of the day I'm still here now.
You are indeed British champion, second place man Chris Lee. Well, Chris, so near, yet so far.
Yeah, I suppose, I was quite pleased to be in the final after my first ride, and I thought I had a good chance having passed Joe in our heat. Just couldn't get enough traction for a couple of laps. The last 2 laps I started to catch him up, so maybe they should make this final 6 laps.
We like it. And what a nice speed for you, Carl Stone, you have.
Yeah, well, before I left, we'd realised that, we're just coming here, have a fun day, enjoy it. The main priority was qualifying. I did that, and then I was surprised when I got the car up to go in the last race, and I tried not to let the pressure get to me. These 2 boys here were just a little bit quicker than I was, and well done to them.
Well done to you as well. Now the official trophy for the British champion from Mr. Bill Smith from the Speedway Control Board. This is what it's all about. And Joe gets to get his name on that coveted trophy. Bill Smith from the SCB. And now we can say, Joe Screen British champion.
I don't believe that.
I thought, with dropping one to the position going good, and I knew I had to get up and start and just stop him, and I made a start, made a good 4 laps.
You told me that you were nervous before the final. Did Catherine's exclusion make you even more nervous?
Not really, as soon as I got on the bike, the nerves just go, I know what I want to do when I'm on the bike, but beforehand it's just all the pressure, the noise and everything. When you get your helmet on, it just, fly away.
So the beard stays?
The beard's definitely staying for a while anyway.
Just offer you a bit of advice. You're not supposed to drink the champagne.
No, you can have a drink then.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's it. Away you go. I'm holding it.
Probably the most delighted man in Coventry Speedway at the moment, Carl Stone. Carl, the biggest moment of your career.
Well, not that delighted. I would have liked to have won it. That would have been even better. But no, I'm chuffed. I've had such a great night, and decided it was only a bit of fun. Just enjoy the day. Now I knew I had to do it to qualify because I've had the pressure from it before, and everything just worked out fine. I was so chuffed to get in that last race.
Going into that last race, I mean, really, I think you've done what you intended to do. Whether you were first, second, third, or fourth, you were still delighted where your afternoons were.
Yeah, I was. It would have been nice to have won, but I just didn't have the speed on them 2 boys in the front, so, the track had changed, but I enjoyed it, and it couldn't have got any better, really.
And you were pretty close with Chris Louis on this first corner, but you say you just lost him on the straight.
Yeah, and then he left me then, but you never know. Next time, next year.
Tremendous season so far for you, Carl, and after this, things can only get better.
Well, hopefully, yeah, the next round now is important. My form for Long Eaton, that's the main thing, but because there's a lot more meetings for them. And hopefully, the next hurdle, I can get through that one, and we'll just see how it goes. I'll always give it my best, whatever I do.
In the overseas final, of course, the Grand Prix lads won't be here, so it could be possibly a little bit easier, so there's no reason why you can't get that rostrum again.
Well, we'll see. There's still a lot of good riders around, whatever you say.
Thanks so much, Carl. Congratulations on the super third place.
Okay, cheers. Thanks very much.
Chris Louis now. Chris, tremendous second place. You come back well from that first ride disappointment.
Yeah, obviously, we all started the final off scratch, and Joe just made a very slightly better start of two than I did. And it took me 2 laps really to get going, and once I got going, I caught him up, but he was obviously too quick early on in the race. But yeah, obviously pleased to be in the final after such a bad start.
I think people were possibly a little bit surprised you took the one gate, because if you didn't get gate, there was every chance of Joe closing you down on that first corner.
Yeah, I hadn't made a very good one off 4 in my previous race, and it looked a fairly easy race on paper, so I thought, well, if I'm going to miss it in that one, chances are I'm going to miss it in the final. So, when he took 2, I thought, well, if I can go off 1 and at least get there with him, I can move him all out a little bit on the first corner, but no, he got there just in front of me, so.
Did you prefer a night meeting in the new format to the old traditional British final?
I'm not sure about the formats. I think they are good entertainment. Certainly it's much better being held in the evening because, the track shoes that it did go slick, but it was good for most of the meeting tonight.
Thanks so much, Chris. Congratulations on your second place.
Thanks.
Thank you. Joe, you've been avoiding me all day. You can talk to me now at long last after many attempts. You are British champion.
Yeah, it's a dream. A dream come true. It's the first step of, getting to the World Championship side of it. Today I had no pressure, because I was qualified already for the Grand Prix. The pressure I had was to win the bloody thing, and I did it. So it was very hard. But at the end of the day, I'm there, and 4 years it's took me, and finally there.
What were your thoughts? Under the conventional old system, you got 14 points, you would have been British champion. There was still one more race to go. What were your thoughts when you went into that last race?
Hold on. Yeah, I didn't know, I was a bit peed off because, I got there, I dropped 1 point. I didn't really try to chase Chris that hard because I knew it was all on the final, but, if I would have lost the final, yeah, maybe I would have been a bit niddly, but, I didn't, so I don't care.
The track looked pretty good tonight. There was no afternoon sunshine. It held up pretty well. Did you prefer a later start?
I've always said, the speedway should be run at night and not in the day, and, because it's cold at night, it holds the track more dirt there, and the track was superb, best Coventry's ever been, I think. But it would be, wouldn't it? Because I won the thing.
And your thoughts on this new system with the three A, B and C finals? Do you like this, or do you prefer the old conventional system?
Maybe if I would have scraped through, yes, and won it, I would have loved the thing, but not with you only dropping 1 point in the first 5 heats. You can go out in the final and lose it, and, all the hard work in the heats have gone to waste, but, I don't care, I'm here now, and I'll see in the Grand Prix, there's better riders in the Grand Prix, and this year I want to qualify, get as high as up I can in the Grand Prix and qualify for next year, or try and win the thing.
Are you disappointed you're not in the overseas final? You're quite happy to win this and go on to the Grand Prix rounds?
At this moment in time, no, because, I've been really struggling meeting-wise for Bradford and stuff because, I haven't been training or anything, and I've been finding it very difficult to ride the bike properly as I wanted to, because after the meeting I've been really hurting, my back and my foot. And lately, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been, trying to go to the gym more and do a bit of swimming, and, I'm at probably 70–80% back where I was last year, my average has dropped by about 2–3 points, and that's annoying because I'm trying as hard as I can, but I'm just not scoring the points.
What were your thoughts when Chris Louis beat you? Do you think, here we go again, I'm going to be second place, or do you think, well, I've got a second chance in that A final?
Second chance in the A final, but I knew I was going quick, but Chris was going quicker, so I knew all I needed to do is make the start and not balls up like he did when he passed me. The reason he passed me before, because I weren't looking how the track was angling up. I went wide up there to get the dirt and degraded the track, and it was slick, so Chris went up the inside because I was spinning on the old ball bearings, but I looked in that in the final, I looked how the other riders were going before, and just took note.
Any particular reason why you chose gate 2?
Two same as, I don't know, I went off 1, twice, 3 times, and 2 looked good, 3 looked good, and 4 looked good, but at the end of the day I didn't want to get. Normally I would have chosen gate 4 and tried to run around them, but the dirt wasn't as good as it was beginning of the night, and 2, I don't know. Why? Why did I pick 2? You tell me.
You tell me. You've been involved with me all day, Joe. We finally had a word with you. Many congratulations. Long last, Joe Screen, British champion.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Joe.